Having spent the last 10 years of my life as a chief of staff at a law firm here in Southern California, I've had a front row seat at seeing what makes or breaks a candidate's chances in the job market. From managing complex cases to overseeing day-to-day operations, one of the most critical lessons I've learned is understanding what truly matters to employers and why certain candidates get overlooked. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 7 most common reasons that prevent people from getting hired and how you can avoid them. Alright, so number 1 is a weak resume, cover letter, or application. Let's be real here. Employers receive dozens, if not hundreds of applications every single day. These documents are often the first impressions that employers have of you, and if you don't have something that stands out or it's not completely filled out, it's going to get tossed out the window. A weak resume often suffers from 2 big issues: a lack of focus and a lack of impact. If your resume just reads like a laundry list of duties instead of a compelling story that shows your achievements, it's time to rethink your approach. For example, typically I'll just read resumes where candidates just write managing files and answering phone calls. There's nothing wrong with those tasks. Oftentimes those are important parts of the role, but it doesn't scream, I'm the perfect candidate for this role. Instead, a stronger approach would be streamlined file management system, improving team efficiency by 20%, or implemented new phone protocol that reduced response times by 15 minutes. This way you're showing both the responsibilities that you had and the results of them. Also, I can tell a cover letter is really weak or generic when I don't see that there's an actual connection between the role and the company. I read so many cover letters that read like they were just sent to every job they were applying to, and oftentimes they probably were. They'll mention their strong skills and their hard work ethic, but they won't mention anything specific to the company or the role they're applying for. Where a great cover letter is personalized and tailored, why they're excited and enthusiastic to work for this company and what they could actually bring to the role, and to actually show that they did some due diligence in understanding what the company's needs are. And let's not forget about the application itself. An application that's incomplete or rushed or lacks detail just shows that you are not serious about the job. I understand a lot of people are applying to hundreds of jobs every single week, and it's really difficult to go one by one and continue to actually tailor them each and every time to their own individual needs, but that's how you actually get the job. For example, I see sections in applications where it asks to describe relevant experience, and the candidate will just say, please see resume. So when you're crafting a resume and a cover letter and application, just always think about how you can stand out and what you can do for the company. Be specific and be impactful, because you only get one first impression. Next is lack of relevant experience. I'm not talking about having a list of just past jobs, but actually having past work experience that's directly related to the role you're applying for. I've seen super impressive resumes where candidates had director experience and high management experience, but they didn't have the direct experience for the role that they were applying for. Like a candidate with a stellar background in event planning that's applying for a legal assistant role. They might have organized hundreds of events, but if they don't have legal documentation or case management software experience, it's just a tough sell. Also, if you have an MBA, but you've never actually built a business in your entire life, it's tough to sell that you can actually do the job and you can actually build the business because you've never done it before. You may have learned how to do it, but your degree is worthless until proven otherwise. And time again, we hire people that don't have fancy degrees, but just have real life experience. They've proven in the real world that they could hit the ground running and that they understand the specific needs and requirements in order to do the role correctly. And there are times where lacking relevant experience doesn't mean you're out of the running completely, but you need to be a lot more strategic with your approach on how you can sell the person on how you could actually do the role effectively. Next is you have no connections. In today's job market, it can be just as important to have a solid network as it is to have a solid resume. And I've seen many candidates with great qualifications that lost the role to someone else because that other person just leveraged their connections better. It's a harsh reality, but connections can significantly impact your job search. And my suggestion is, if you are interested in certain job fields, start networking earlier than when you start applying. You can attend industry events or join professional associations or join online communities. And the sooner you build those connections, the sooner you could leverage them when it's actually time to find a new role. The best networking tool for me has been my alumni base. I was in a fraternity in college, and when I graduated, that network opened up to me, and I was able to connect with so many people that were not only in my fraternity, but just in the Greek system in general. And having that camaraderie of being able to relate to them on that level just became so much easier to build friendships first, and then have them help me leverage that into getting roles later on. So when people say that I paid for my friends, I just simply say, I sure did. Next is being a poor cultural fit. I've seen so many technically brilliant candidates just get passed up because they didn't fit into the company culture. You might have the perfect skills and experience, but if you don't fit into the company culture, it's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. If you're not matching with the team's vibe, it just doesn't matter how good your skills are. And cultural fit doesn't necessarily mean just getting along with the other employees or sharing the same hobbies. It's about whether your work style, your values, or your approach just aligns with the company ethos. If a company prides itself on innovation and flexibility, but you prefer a more strict traditional culture, you could see how there's going to be a lot of friction there. Before you apply for the job, go on their website and read their mission statement, or go on Glassdoor and read prior employee reviews and what their experiences were, or go on their social media accounts if they have any and see what they do and what their vibe is like. And that's how you'll be able to write a really strong cover letter, because you'll be able to emphasize those core values within that and really tailor it to them. If you know that that company values teamwork, you could highlight your collaborative projects. If they emphasize innovation, you could showcase examples where you introduced new ideas. And then when you get to the interview process, you'll be much more prepared to talk about how you fit into that company's culture. And in the event that you really want the job, but you're finding that you're on the fence about the cultural fit, you can definitely try to adapt to it. But just in personal experience, I know that people that are really in tune with the cultural fit just tend to have a better satisfaction with that job. Next is being unprepared for interviews. During the interview, if you show up late or you're not dressed for the role, or you just show up unprepared, you're already in a losing battle. You could have all the skills and experience in the world, but if you show up looking like Ronald McDonald, I will not validate your parking. If you can't answer basic questions about company projects or their mission statements, and you just look at them like you have no idea what they're talking about, don't be surprised when you don't get a call back. No one wants to hire someone that just lacks enthusiasm and seems like they'd rather be anywhere else but there. Gotta remember, it's a competitive job market, and when there's a lot of candidates that are very similar with qualifications, but one actually shines in the interview process, they're the ones that are gonna likely get the job. It's just a missed opportunity to show off your personality and that spark. If you want me to make a video on how to nail a job interview, comment banana. Okay, next is a negative online presence. Like it or not, oftentimes employers look through your social media when they are considering you as a candidate. And if that footprint that you leave online is just filled with negativity or unprofessionalism, that's not going to work in your favor. I've seen great candidates that are overlooked because their online presence just shows a different side of them that they didn't show in the interview process. It makes you question the professionalism. It makes you wonder if they're the person that they portrayed in the interview process, or if they're actually the person that they show off online. So I definitely recommend just Googling yourself and seeing what comes up, because more than likely, if they're going to look for your stuff, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go on your Instagram or your LinkedIn, or just going to Google your name. And if there are any posts or comments that could be perceived as even just a little bit unprofessional, take care of them immediately. Just know that it's thin ice these days. Like, feel like no one is safe. The internet is forever, and even boomers have access to it now, so you gotta be careful. Next is, this isn't about you, it's about the employer. It's about how you fit into the employer's world and how you can solve their problems. I've seen countless candidates focus too much on their own achievements and accomplishments that they forget to focus on the real goal, which is the employer's needs. We're not spending our time at work listening to how you were third runner-up in underwater basket weaving. We're here to understand how you can resolve the specific challenges that we are facing. I don't care about your personal accomplishments. I want to know why you are better than everyone else applying for the role. And the only way you could possibly do that is if you spend the time researching the company and its needs. That way you're now tailoring your pitch to be more about the employer and less about yourself. And I know the job market's hard. I see too many people posting on LinkedIn about how they've been applying for months and months to hundreds of jobs and haven't heard back from any of them. But like it or not, at the end of the day, you really do have to do all this extra stuff now in order to be competitive. And I really do believe that if you spend some time really tailoring your pitch and doing all these things correctly, that it's going to help you so much more. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, so let me know if you have anything that you want to add to this or what you think, or if I'm wrong. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe. I make new videos every week, and I hope you go back and watch more of them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.